So Tarkir Dragonstorm has dropped. It's here, the meta has shifted, and Mono-Red Aggro has said, I don't care.
Best decks in Standard. Ha! It's been a while since I've opened this one. Turn 1, Swift Spear. It's time.
The best deck in Standard right now is still Mono-Red Aggro. I have several points that I'm going to make about this, explaining why that is the case. You may not want to hear that. You may be so tired of Mono-Red Aggro that you just, the next time you play against it, you're going to uninstall the game.
You're kidding! Judge.
I don't want that to happen, but I do want you to know why the deck is doing so well and what makes it so strong. For those who are unaware of what Mono-Red Aggro is, let me explain really quickly. Mono-Red Aggro is a strategy that uses very efficient, low mana cost value creatures or burn spells to win as quickly as possible. That's it in a nutshell. There's no fancy combos usually. There's no card draw engines. There's just mountains, muscle, and a deep hatred for turn 5. In other words, you're trying to win as quickly as possible, right? And that's kind of why Mono-Red Aggro will always be popular. It will always be one of the most sought after deck archetypes, if you will, for playing competitive Magic. It's also really fun to play whether you're competing or not. It's really fun to just burn everyone's face. First and foremost, we're going to talk about the win rate. 60% win rate. So when talking about win rate, we're talking about other decks that we're competing with that are also in that same win rate territory of almost 60% or basically 60%. And we're dealing with Azorius Omniscience. We've got Mono-Red Aggro. We've got Mardu Aggro. We've got Rakdos Aggro. We've got Boros Auras. And then we've got Mono White Life Game. These are all tier A, top of the list, highest win rate with the most matches involved. So we have a good sample size and a lot of data to determine, hey, what's the most winning deck, right? Does it mean it's the most fun to play? No, not always. I mean, is winning fun? Yes, always. But do you want to play a super slow control deck that will possibly take 15-20 minutes per game to win the game? That is honestly so much more impressive than playing Mono-Red, and we all know that. However, the drawback is 15 to 20 minute games, and if you lose, well, you could have played literally 7 games in that time playing Mono-Red. Since Tarkir has dropped, the Mono-Red Aggro list that has been basically cemented at the top of the leaderboards has not changed at all. Nothing has changed. That's pretty bizarre. It does happen, and I think that just kind of shows the prowess or the caliber that this deck is at. Don't get me wrong, there's still some other decks out there that are swinging a really high win rate in Mythic. We've got 5-color Reanimator. Is It Prowess is definitely up there. Mono Blue, we've got Omniscience. Those are all decks that, and there's others too, that can easily spike 70, sometimes 80% win rates for durations of certain individuals. We're not talking big sample size of like 40,000 games. We're talking it's possible to have those higher win rates for a total of today, right? And there's still other variations of aggro decks that are not Mono-Red. Like I said, Rakdos, Boros, those are multicolor. And they're very high win rate as well, right there with Mono-Red. But Mono-Red is still clocking in at number 1. It's pretty good. So the second point of why this deck is amazing is the wildcard situation. So if you're just now getting into the game and you've started maybe playing Magic a year ago, you dropped off, and then you're coming back to the game, well, guess what? All of those decks that you built, or maybe that one deck that you built, it's not going to be standard legal anymore. You can still play it on historic, so I recommend that you do if you like the deck that you had previously, but that deck may not work anymore on standard. So what do we have to do? well, we can start from scratch or we can build from that. But what's great about Mono-Red Aggro is that it comes in at 16 rares / mythics total. Now, that sounds like a lot, but for a tier 1 or S tier top performing meta standard deck, that's pretty good. 16 rares and or mythics is not bad at all. And guess what? No rare lands. There are no rare lands in this deck. You do not have to do any sort of fixing. There's no multicolor mana-based stress. You don't need therapy after building this deck. Just mountains, okay? Soulstone Sanctuary is a rare land that you can put into this deck, which I have running in this deck. I usually run 3, but that's just because I had them. I think I ended up crafting those as I was opening packs. And so yeah, you don't have to run Soulstone Sanctuary, but it's just a nice to have. But still, the land situation is fantastic. It's hard to beat mono decks when it comes to land. And if you don't have it, don't worry. You're not losing sleep over a playset of Soulstone Sanctuary. Another point I wanted to make was it's really good for new or returning players also because there's no weird mechanics. Prowess is super simple and powerful. You cast a spell, the creature gets angry, you repeat until the opponent is dead. It's essentially play what you can play on whatever turn you're on, and if you have certain key spells like Monstrous Rage, well, you cast that when you attack, and what's the opponent going to do? So it rewards tight play but still forgives small mistakes. Unlike your X, the deck is fast, forgiving, and it won't gaslight you into playing 3-color control. We're dealing with 24 creatures, we're dealing with 14 instant cast, and 22 land. That's it. No enchantments, no sorceries, no planeswalkers. Simple. Very simple. So basically a creature deck with some instant casts. There's 3 standout creatures that are in this deck that people are probably very tired of seeing. Those 3 are all the same creature type, which is mice. Whenever Heartfire Hero becomes the target of a spell or ability you control for the first time, each turn you put a 1/1 counter on it. So basically if you interact with the card in any way, it gets a counter. When it dies, it deals damage equal to its power. So that's really nice. It's going to die, trust me. This creature will die, and it will do extra damage on top of the damage it dealt when it attacked, if it did. Emberheart Challenger, same idea, where if you interact with the card, you're going to be able to exile a card from your library and potentially cast it if you have mana for it. Which you probably won't because you're Mono-Red Aggro and you're using all of your mana before you consider what you could possibly be doing in that of card draw. And every time you cast a non-creature spell, you will put a 1/1 counter on this particular creature. Manifold Mouse has an offspring ability. That's not as important as what it does. It gives trample and it gives double strike. And of course, Offspring will allow you to put possibly 2 Manifold Mice onto the field and be able to give 1 or 2 other creatures trample or double strike, which is just absolutely bonkers. It's a 2-mana creature that allows you to keep stacking trample or double strike every single turn. The number 1 metric that this deck absolutely just screams out for everyone to hear is the average game time per match when playing this deck. Yes, it's an aggro deck. It's supposed to be fast, right? Well, how fast are we talking? 2.5 minute average game time is insane. Do you know how many games you can squeak out on the ladder? If your average game time, if you can win in 2.5 minutes, that is what I was clocking the past 7 games that I've played with this. That was my average. And I know that other people can probably play this deck even faster than I can. That to me is the number 1 reason why this deck is still a contender for best deck in the meta right now. When it comes to climbing the ladder, like once you get to Mythic, if you're still playing Mono-Red Aggro, there may be something wrong with you. I won't lie. I'm not going to judge you, but there may be something wrong. No, but getting to Mythic, and being in Mythic are two different things. And that may be clear and obvious, but like getting to Mythic is a grind. And I've done it myself. And did I use aggro to get there for the majority of what when I got there last season? Yeah, I did. No shame in that. Final verdict on Mono-Red Aggro. It's cheap. It wins super fast. It can dominate the ladder. It can go on really high win rate runs. It's survived the new set shakeup. It has been unscathed in that regard. It has a very easy entry point for standard, for new players, and for people that have already been playing a lot. It's something you can just grab and go. And that's hard to argue against, especially the playtime. In my opinion, that's a big one. Like, if I want to play slow Magic, I'll play paper Magic. And that's honestly the best way to play, right? I love Arena to death. I do. But if I want to play a good old-fashioned game of Magic, I'm going to go to my game store right down the road. And I'm going to play some Commander, or I'm going to play a good old-fashioned, historic game of Magic. And now, I love that on Arena as well. But when I'm ready to just climb, it's new season, right? I mean, we started 8 days ago. It's time to climb. I don't really want to spend 20 minutes per game. Not every game, at least. Sure, I'm going to be in my mood to play those methodical, thought-provoking, actual use-your-head games, right? But in this case, there's so many positives here that are hard to argue against. I want to know what you guys think. What's the best deck right now? Seriously, what's the best deck? Everyone's trying so many different things, and that's what makes this game fantastic. All these different cards, different strategies, a lot of strategies we've seen before that are as old as Magic itself, right? The aggro mage, the control mage, the mid-range mage, etc. And they all have their place, and they all do their job very well. And right now, Mono-Red Aggro is doing its job almost too well, I would say. And it's still number one. It's the top. It's freaking mice. So what are we going to do about it? We need to come up with, an answer for it, in my opinion. It's not up to Wizards. They're producing these cards for us, but we've got to figure it out. We got to solve this. And not that we have to, but we can't let Mono-Red be on top forever, right? That just doesn't work. It doesn't work. But anyway, this has been a lot of fun and a little bit different of a video for me. And thanks for sticking around. If you like this at all, let me know in some way. Like, subscribe, comment. It all is good, and I appreciate it. And we'll see you guys in the next one.